This is a secluded biochemical research facility where the military conducts secret research on biochemical weapons. Unexpectedly, a virus leaked from the lab, infecting researchers and station soldiers, turning them into ravenous, bloodthirsty zombies who began attacking others. Though the remaining soldiers fought valiantly, they couldn't withstand the relentless onslaught of the zombies. As the entire base was on the verge of collapse, the captain of the soldiers suggested immediate evacuation, but the doctor refused on the spot. The research achievements in the base were his life's work, and he was determined to find a way to salvage everything. When the captain attempted to forcibly remove the doctor, he was suddenly tackled by a zombie. Now, the entire base was left with only the doctor, but he still hadn't given up on finding a cure for the virus. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed, and an elite team was tasked with landing on this small island. Their mission: retrieve the research findings on biochemical weapons and rescue another team that had gone missing earlier. However, they only had a mere 10 hours. If they failed to activate the signal transmitter within this time frame, headquarters would consider the mission a failure and obliterate the island. With time running out, the team immediately set off towards the research base. But just as they started, they collided head-on with a zombie. Despite being mentally prepared, facing a real zombie still startled them. The next moment, the zombie roared and lunged at them, prompting the captain and vice captain to quickly open fire and knock it down. The gunfire attracted even more zombies, and they surged from all directions. The team had no choice but to fight back while retreating. The jungle here was unusually dense, and even the battle-hardened elite team couldn't withstand the sudden zombie attacks. In the chaos, Chuck's signal transmitter was accidentally knocked out by a zombie, but he remained unaware. Under the relentless onslaught of the zombies, the entire team was plunged into a desperate struggle. A female soldier was tackled by a zombie that suddenly leaped out, prompting the captain to rush forward to her rescue. He intended to pull the zombie away, but ended up tearing off its arm in the process. In desperation, the captain grabbed the zombie's head and dispatched it with a shot. Although he successfully saved the female soldier, she had already been bitten. Knowing the consequences of being bitten, the captain was unwilling to abandon his soldier. Surrounded by silence, the captain decided to scout ahead. But he underestimated the situation, and a zombie suddenly lunged at him. Upon hearing the commotion, the others rushed over, only to find the captain missing. It was clear he was in grave danger. The command fell to the deputy leader, Paul. Before long, the bitten female soldier began to mutate. Michaela, seeing the transformation, swiftly dispatched her before the mutation completed, much to Paul's displeasure. Amidst their argument, Chuck stumbled upon a rocket launcher under a tree, apparently left behind by the previous team. Confused by the discovery, they suddenly heard gunfire coming from the direction of the base, indicating that their comrades were still alive. With renewed hope, the team immediately set off towards the base. As they reached their destination, they found the area eerily quiet. Just as they were about to enter the base, a horde of zombies suddenly swarmed towards them. Overwhelmed by their numbers, the team struggled to fend them off. Luckily, survivors from another team arrived just in time, providing cover for them to enter the base. With their objectives aligned, they regrouped and headed towards the laboratory. As they reached the corner of the stairwell, they heard gunshots. Carefully peeking around the corner, they spotted two soldiers turned into zombies. Before they could deal with them, they were ambushed by a man who suddenly appeared. They ordered the man to drop his weapons, only to realize he was the doctor from 10 years ago, miraculously still alive. Despite the years that had passed, the doctor instantly recognized Michaela among the group as his daughter. He then led the team to his laboratory. After years of relentless research, the doctor had made some progress. He developed a serum that could suppress the zombie virus, allowing the mutated zombies to gradually regain human consciousness. Some of them could even communicate normally, but they still retained a certain level of aggression towards strangers. Of course, these were just a few successful cases. A large portion of the zombies injected with the serum became even more vicious than before. Clearly, the doctor's obsession with studying zombies had reached a dangerous level. He adamantly refused to leave the island and insisted on continuing his research there. He was determined not to let the team take away his research findings. With the loss of the signal transmitter, their time was running out. Seeing that the doctor wouldn't listen to reason, Paul had no choice but to order the soldiers to forcibly take him away. However, the unexpected happened in the next moment. The doctor lunged at a soldier like a zombie, and it took several people to pull him away. Paul had thought to put an end to him with a bullet, but the doctor's survival instinct kicked in. and he urgently asked Michaela to retrieve the serum from his pocket. After Michaela administered the serum to the doctor, he immediately regained his senses, indicating that the serum was indeed effective. However, witnessing this, Paul hesitated to take him back, knowing the catastrophic consequences if the virus spread in the city. Michaela disagreed, stating, "He's my father. I'll fight you all if I have to." Seeing the positive effects of the serum, she suggested Paul check the laboratory for more serum, which was the primary reason for their mission. Paul saw the logic in her argument and decided to leave 2 soldiers to guard the doctor while the rest of the team went to the laboratory. While Michaela and Paul searched for the serum, Chuck and Jerome went to find a radio. However, after searching many places, they didn't find a working phone. Suddenly, Jerome urgently needed to use the restroom, so he went inside. But halfway through, he was attacked by a zombie that appeared out of nowhere. Luckily, Chuck arrived just in time to save him. Unfortunately, they returned empty-handed. Meanwhile, Michaela and Paul found the doctor's computer, which contained records of his serum research process. They discovered that the doctor had infected himself with the zombie virus in order to make progress. While Michaela was copying the research data, she accidentally triggered the base's security system, releasing the most vicious zombies. Fortunately, they managed to obtain the research data in the end. Paul urged Michaela to leave quickly because the zombies were heading their way, but she insisted on finding the antivirus serum. After searching frantically, they finally found the serum in a refrigerated room. Only then did they leave the area. Meanwhile, Chuck and Jerome returned to the office, only to find that the doctor and 2 other teammates were missing. There were obvious bloodstains on the ground. Chuck noticed a nearby surveillance monitor and saw their teammates bound up. It was clearly the doctor's doing. They immediately set out to find them. However, when they reached the room where their teammates were held captive, they were suddenly confronted by the doctor. With a gun in his hand, they had no choice but to surrender. Meanwhile, Michaela and Paul also faced a fierce battle on their way back, encountering countless zombies blocking their path. Fortunately, Paul's shots were precise, and they managed to break through the encirclement. Upon returning to the office, they also discovered their missing teammates and the doctor through the surveillance footage. They then located the place where they were being held captive and found Chuck lying on a hospital bed with a zombie beside him. The other teammates were bound and unconscious nearby, while Chuck was barely conscious, his mouth stained with blood. At this moment, the doctor rushes in, realizing that this chaos is his own doing. Despite his relentless pursuit of research, it's clear that things have spiraled out of control. Paul urgently needs the doctor's help to escape the island, as there's less than 2.5 hours before it sinks into the sea forever. Fearing for his own life and the loss of his research, the doctor reluctantly agrees. However, just as Paul prepares to free Chuck from his handcuffs, the doctor reveals a devastating truth. Chuck is beyond saving because the doctor injected him with the zombie virus. Despite the seething anger inside him, Paul is left with no choice but to bid farewell to Chuck. After rescuing the other soldiers, they return to the office. But what the doctor didn't anticipate was that all the zombies in the lab had been released. While zombies were terrifying, a nuclear bomb was even scarier. The group had to fight their way out, with zombies swarming from all directions, leaving them surrounded. Suddenly, the doctor recognized a zombie right in front of him, one that seemed familiar. It was Kurt, the captain from the base who had been bitten in front of the doctor 10 years ago. Now, he had become the leader of the ruthless pack of zombies. The doctor quickly instructed the others to take the side paths while he stayed behind to hold off the zombies. As the others safely left, the doctor was overwhelmed by the horde of undead. Kurt not only retained his consciousness, but also commanded the other zombies. He stopped the horde from tearing into the doctor and instead viciously attacked him, venting his anger. The doctor had used him as a guinea pig, repeatedly injecting him with the antivirus serum, turning him into a half-human, half-zombie monster. After dealing with the doctor, Kutz and his crew continued to pursue the remaining survivors. Meanwhile, as the group ascended the stairs, Jerome was tackled by a zombie. Though his teammates swiftly dispatched the zombie, Jerome had already been bitten. Aware of his fate, he chose to end his own life. The rest of the group managed to escape from the lab. Michaela took one soldier to the helicopter landing site. Paul headed to the tree where Chuck had found the rocket launcher, and another soldier went to retrieve the signal transmitter. With the help of the GPS locator, the soldier quickly reached his destination. However, unbeknownst to him, the insects on the island had also mutated. As soon as the soldier obtained the signal transmitter, several insects dropped onto his body, with one even burrowing into his skin. Within seconds, the The soldier collapsed to the ground. But in the next moment, someone picked up the transmitter. Meanwhile, things are looking grim for Michaela. Zombies continue to pour out of the jungle, and one soldier, caught off guard, is overwhelmed by the undead. Michaela herself is tackled to the ground, and though she manages to dispatch the zombies, she's bitten on the arm in the process. She quickly administers a dose of serum to herself, but soon falls into unconsciousness. On the other side, Paul finally locates the rocket launcher, but as he's about to leave, he spots the bitten team leader. Reluctantly, Paul has to escort him away before rushing to the helicopter landing site. When Michaela awakens after injecting the serum, she realizes she has turned into a half-human, half-zombie hybrid. With the zombie virus coursing through her veins, Michaela's combat skills are maxed out in an instant. Facing the oncoming zombies, she effortlessly dispatches them one after another, displaying remarkable marksmanship as she takes down several with ease. After dealing with these low-level foes, Michaela continues toward the helicopter landing site. However, on the way, she unexpectedly encounters Cuts, who has seized the signal transmitter and prevented the island from being bombed by headquarters. Words turn to blows as they engage in combat. Michaela quickly overwhelms Cuts' zombie lackeys, but just as the mutated doctor arrives to join the fray and help finish off the remaining zombies, Kurtz, a formidable opponent, delivers a devastating blow that incapacitates Michaela. At the critical moment, the doctor intervenes just in time to save Michaela. He urges her to leave immediately while he engages in a showdown with Cuts, a battle of the undead. The two corpses grapple with each other, exchanging blows in a fierce struggle. After several rounds, Cuts clearly begins to falter, ultimately being overpowered and dispatched by the doctor. As the helicopter arrives, Paul rushes to the scene and finds Michaela lying on the ground. He quickly approaches, urging her to leave, only to discover that Michaela has been infected by the virus. Michaela hands the last vial of serum to Paul. Clearly, she has no intention of leaving. Knowing that Michaela is beyond saving, Paul reluctantly boards the helicopter alone. Meanwhile, the doctor finds Michaela in her dire state, holding her close and expressing his apologies, acknowledging that all of this was his doing. As Paul watches the helicopter fly away, the doctor lets out a resounding "do it," and Paul, tears in his eyes, triggers the rocket launcher. In the end, a massive mushroom cloud rises from the island, reducing everything to ashes.